Did you know that you could be a foster carer at the weekends? I don't think a lot of people know that, and maybe you're someone who would really love to help and become a foster carer, but you just can't commit to a full-time thing. You can still become a foster carer. Let's talk about the different types of foster placements and what you can potentially do to help.
Put your hand in mine, follow me, let me waste your time, c'est la vie.
Hello and welcome. My name is Sarah and I am currently a foster carer in the UK. I've been a foster carer for just over a year now, and since I've been a foster carer, I have experienced lots of people who are like, oh, I didn't know you could do that, I didn't know you could do that, and I just wanted to kind of like share some videos and bust a few myths, I think, really. And today we're going to talk about the different types of foster placements that you can have, and how literally you could be a foster carer at the weekends if that fits your lifestyle, if it's something that you really want to do to help. And like, there's a ton of children out there who need our help, and you can do it around your job, or you could just do it overnight. So let's get into it and let's talk about all the different types. The first one, I think, is the most obvious and the one that most people understand about foster care, is short-term placements. I'm a short-term foster carer, and so what happens is the children, it could be an emergency case where suddenly a family member can't take care of them, or something happens that, you know, the child is deemed that they're no longer safe, and so they come into social services care, and we find a short-term foster placement for them. And short-term is anything from 2 years and less, which I was quite surprised at that. They do aim for them to be moved on from their short-term placements in 6 months, but obviously, you know, that doesn't always happen. Things happen, and it doesn't, you know, the target of that can't always be met. As a short-term foster carer, you are just bridging the gap between you're taking care of the children whilst everyone else around the child is deciding where their permanent place could be. It could be that they're assessing parents to see if they can go back and live with parents. They could be assessing family members to see if it's suitable for them to go and live with a family member. They could be being placed up for adoption, or they could be going to a long-term foster placement, which, if you're the short-term placement, quite often you maybe will get asked, will you long-term foster them, if that's the route it's going to go down. But basically, in very simple terms, you're just kind of bridging that gap of the child comes into social services care. Where are they going to end up permanently? And you're that bridge between there, that you're just taking care of them whilst they find out their permanent place. The next type of placement is long-term placements. Do you want your shoe off? Do you want it off? Yay. The next type of placement is long-term fostering, which is exactly as it sounds. It's long-term. So when children first come in, like I said, with short-term, the children come in and they're with a short-term placement. If the decision is made that long-term fostering is what's happening, they will then move. They could stay with if the short-term person is happy to then become a long-term foster carer, they could stay with that same foster carer. But if not, they will move on to a long-term foster placement, where they will be, hopefully, fingers crossed, they will be until they reach 18 and, you know, maybe, you know, beyond. They do break down a lot of times for a variety of different reasons, but the aim of long-term fostering is, and if you see them through, they're with you. They could become part of your family, which they absolutely should. You know, if you take on a child at 5, 6 as a long-term foster placement, they're with you, like, you know, for 12, 13 years, whatever, and forever. Realistically, you don't just kind of abandon them at 18 and then, you know, see you later, they're gone. But that's the aim with long-term fostering, is that you see them through into independence and adulthood. I would say that I think long-term fostering is never the goal, I wouldn't have said. Realistically, let's be honest, we always want, if it's at all possible, we want reunification back with birth parents. If not birth parents, then birth family. That isn't always possible for so many different reasons. You know, that's always the primary goal. But, you know, there's addictions, or there could be illness, there's mental health, there could be abuse, there could be so many variety of reasons why the children can't go back. And if they can't go back, and if there then isn't any connected person, which is, you know, a family member, you know, a nan or a granddad or an auntie, you know, someone, if there's no one else that will consider taking them, then adoption would be looked at. And then that is just I mean, how they choose whether a child should be adopted or long-term foster, a lot of it is on age. Unfortunately, people generally don't adopt older children. They want the younger children, which, you know, fair enough. As a general rule, from what I know with people that I've spoken to with social workers and things, sort of as we get up to like to 5, adoption generally doesn't really become an option. They may try to find adopters, but if not, then long-term foster care is what happens. And obviously with the long-term foster placement, the kids are just with you, you get your payments as normal, they become part of your family, they go on holiday with you, you know, they're part of the family, I would say, absolutely, even more so. I mean, like, I'm a short-term foster carer and these kids are part of my family. For whatever time they're with me, they're part of my family, but even more so with a long-term placement. The next type is respite placements, which I didn't know existed before I became a foster carer. And I think this is where it gets interesting for people, that if, like I said at the start, if you don't want that full-time commitment, because fostering is hard work. Let me tell you, it is hard work. It's a 24/7 job. And if you can't commit to that, you can just be a respite foster carer. If you don't know, respite, for a variety of reasons, foster carers or even birth families actually may need a break from a child. It could be, like, I've utilised respite when a placement came to me and I already had a holiday booked. I couldn't add them onto the holiday. These children obviously needed to go somewhere whilst we went on holiday, so they went into respite placements. I always say when the kids are with me that I don't really want to use respite. They're part of my family, and when I go on holiday, they come with me. But there are a variety of reasons why you could need respite. You could have a child that, you know, has some really intense needs that you know, you want to be a foster carer and you really want, you know, and you've got this child and you want to help, but actually, you know, you just need a break. As parents to our birth children, we just need a break sometimes, and that can be utilised. That if you've got a child with really complicated issues that is just a stress on you and your family, if you need to take a week off of that, you can utilise respite placements, which then you can just be on the books as a respite carer, that the only things you accept are respites. The only thing that you will get a phone call about is respite. They may try and push other things on you, but if that's not your thing, just say no, I'm a respite carer only. But you can do that. So it could be like in summer holidays, you have a child for a couple of weeks, or, you know, just a week. Even it could be just like the weekend sometimes. For people who kind of really want to help and don't and can't commit to that full time, I think being a respite carer would be fantastic. It's kind of like you don't have a lot of the issues that if you're a short-term foster carer, it throws up other issues, I suppose. But I've done respite care placement once in October half term last year, and we just had a lovely time. We just went out. Like, you don't really have to do any contact, there's no dealing with any paperwork things realistically. There's not really much to do. You're just having a nice time with them. It's how I viewed it anyway. I think definitely if you're considering fostering but can't commit to full time, look at respite placements. I think it's a fantastic thing, and that more people need to know about, to be honest, because I don't think many people know that you can do that. On a similar vein to respite placements, there is what's called a PACE bed. Now, I went on a training course a while ago, and the local constabulary were there explaining about what a PACE bed is. So what it is in the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, I think I'm saying that right, which is PACE. There's a section 38 in there or something, I think, that when a young person, maybe a 14, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, has been arrested, they are in a jail cell, they try to utilise PACE beds, which a PACE bed is a foster carer's home. The scenario is you've got a 14-year-old who's got arrested. He needs to maybe go to court the next morning, but he needs to stay in custody until he attends court. I'm saying he, of course it could be she as well. He, she needs to attend court. They need to be in custody, but they are only 14, and that's quite scary for a lot of them. When I was speaking to the policeman about it, he was saying lots of them see their arse when they're in there and they're like, oh my goodness, this is really scary. And to be in a cell overnight is horrendous for them. And so they try to use, and plus, you know, maybe the police need the space, they can then contact the police can then contact the local authority and say, I've got this child, he's in court tomorrow. It could even be over the weekend. If it happens on Friday and he's not been, the court isn't until Monday. Actually, I think they do court on a Saturday. So it could, anyway, it could be over the weekend, it could be 2 nights, but generally it's like a 1 night thing that then you'll get, and it could be that you get a phone call at 10 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, can you take these people? So that definitely interferes, well, with your sleeping, definitely. But the people who I spoke to who did it, apparently in Lancashire where I am, there are only 2 foster care, there are only 2 pace beds, which I really want to do this. When I was at the course, hearing all about it, and then when I thought about my situation, well, it probably doesn't really fit in with my lifestyle and with things, and with having like my own son of that type of age, I kind of just thought maybe it wasn't for me and my family. That's not to say I may not look at it down the line, but basically you would just get a phone call that they're coming. They come at, you know, whatever time. Sometimes people have said, you know, they come at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and realistically they're tired and they kind of just want to go to bed, and someone maybe like to listen to them. Why have they got themselves into this place? And I spoke to a lovely couple who were one of the pace bed people. They said they'd done like 40 in the past like 18 months or something, and they just did not have a bad experience. I think that was initially, I was like, oh, how will these children behave? She said, and they both, the husband and the wife, said had not had one bad experience with them, and generally all the kids want is like a cup of hot chocolate and a nice warm bed, maybe to chat about how they've ended up where they've ended up, and then they are driven to court the next morning, and then that's where your kind of responsibility ends. You hand them over to social worker, whoever's there at court, and then that's it, job done. And I think that could be a fantastic thing. I think you've got this, obviously that only fits in with a certain person, but that could be a fantastic thing to do. And they're desperately short of these pace beds up and down the country. I would imagine they're desperately short up and down the country. They're desperately short in my local authority, and I imagine they're desperately short everywhere. So yeah, pace beds, if you fancy looking into that. Parent and child placement is another one that I didn't know anything about before I started fostering. This is going back to like full-time fostering, that you've got it all the time. And what it is that generally, I'm gonna say mum, but I'm sure it could be dad, but mum and baby, child come and live with you together, and you kind of take them both into your house, and your role there as the foster carer is more just to support the parent taking care of the child. I think I've got a course, or actually I've not booked it, but I want to go on a course about it, because I feel like it could be something that I would quite enjoy doing. I would like some more information myself, so I'm actually gonna go on a course. I need to book it. I do need to book it. I'm gonna go on a course to find out some more about it, just to see if it's for me really. But yeah, mum or parent and child, baby come in, and they just, maybe they're young, not necessarily that they're young, but maybe they're a young mum and they just need some help and guidance, and like maybe they haven't got anyone around that can help them. So you will be that person for them, that you're just kind of there to make sure parent, I won't just keep saying mum, but parent is taking care of the child, which I can understand that there can be quite some tensions there, possibly. But I suppose obviously, you know, each case would be individual, and you do get payment for that. You get like a payment for the mum and the payment for the child. But I think like the payment for the child, like the mum takes control of it, and you have to like make sure that she's managing her money well, and it's kind of just like teaching them how to live, really teaching the parent how to live with the baby, and make sure they're budgeting well and buying the appropriate things, and you know, doing appropriate things with the child. So that could be of interest to some people. Definitely it is for me, but we'll see if I ever do it. So there are the different types of foster placements. There's probably more. If you can think of some more, please do put them down below. My goal, my aim with this video was just to show that it doesn't have to be this full-time commitment thing, that you can do foster care in the school. I was just gonna say, like, if you're a school teacher, I can't imagine this person, if you are this person, but if you're a school teacher and then you want to just do some foster care in the summer holidays, you know, in the school holidays or whatever, you can do that. Absolutely, you can do that. You can just do weekend foster care if that works for you and your family. It does not have to be this full-time, huge, big family commitment. It can be a part-time thing as well, and I don't think that people realize that. So hopefully I've explained things a little bit more so you understand the different types of foster care. If this has encouraged you to look into fostering, please do let me know down below in the comments. If you do have any other questions, again in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.